Hello guys, my name is DJ Studios and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about Timelord Victorious and we're talking about the next episode in the Big Finish trilogy, which is called The Enemy of My Enemy. The story is about these human creatures called the Waxans, and they are like, well, they're basically human, they speak like humans. So the Daleks and them have like a feud thing, and they invite the Daleks to join them for peace talks, basically. Both parties want this parley, but for some reason the Doctor doesn't, and then the Doctor makes discoveries. That's the best way to put it, I think. Now, I'm going to be frank here. I didn't like this episode that much. I think that it had some real issues. He Kills Me Not had a really good style to it. It was very western-y, quite romantic. All that kind of stuff was leaking through the entire episode, and that made it quite enjoyable. I listened to that story 3 times. I knew I had issues with it, but I really enjoyed it anyway. But when it comes to this episode, it doesn't have that style. It feels to me like they just betted on the idea of the Daleks to sell this one. We've seen it loads of times before as well. The Doctor is requested by the Daleks, and then the Daleks have to solve something with the Doctor. Do you know why we saw it earlier? Because we saw it in Defender of the Daleks, which is also a Timelord Victorious property, but within the comic books. They're very similar stories. I felt like I've been too negative there, and I don't like to be too negative in my videos, because there are definitely redeemable qualities to everything. There are redeemable qualities to the Timeless Children. There are, but you know, I don't want to go into that. There are definitely redeemable stuff in here. The production is lovely, as it normally is. McGann is great. There's some real ideas of promise within this story as well. But personally, I didn't feel like when it ended, I felt like I had a full story. I felt like I got a kind of rushed ending, which would lead to something more interesting later on. Overall, I'm not particularly impressed. Maybe this thing would change within time. Maybe now that I've listened to it once, listening to it again might make me change my mind, possibly. But we'll have to see in the coming weeks, and that might just not happen. It's very rare that I find a Big Finish story that I don't like. But I think this might be one of the first, actually. Like I said before, it has redeeming qualities, and I'm sure it has links into the rest of Timelord Victorious, but because I have very limited grasp on that kind of stuff at the minute, just because I haven't caught up on it in a good week or two. Me and Will did a podcast last week about the Daleks and how they basically appear everywhere, and it's their saturation and all of that that's making their episodes go from here to here, and I think that also suffers the same problem within this episode. But it's okay, because tomorrow we have an animated Dalek show, because that's coming. I really want to stress that this episode is not the worst thing that I've ever seen. You know, I've seen much worse television than this. It's very well put together and things like that, as I mentioned before, but I just didn't find it that enticing. And I listened to this in like the perfect conditions as well. It's not like I was moping around or listening to it in parts and things like that. To summarize, I suppose, I mean, it was okay. There were some moments in there that I thought had high promise, but sadly they didn't pay off in the end. So thank you guys very, very much for watching. What did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Are you going to get it? I mean, if you've got it in the trilogy, then listen to it by all means, but I would not go out of your way to go and get this now. You may find that they might cut costs and sales and stuff towards the end of Timelord Victorious, so maybe that would be a good time to pick it up. It feels to me like it's a bit like watching it in the wrong order. You're watching episode 1 second and episode 4 first. It just doesn't work in that aspect because you're not quite sure what's going on, and that's how I feel about Timelord Victorious. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe if you're new, and I shall see you soon.